Cal had just taken this very unique approach that no one had ever done.
Exclude the junior competition by coming in close around Barrick-Newmont's operations. Colin looked at it and said, this is just what I'm looking for.
He said, I'll stake the ground, you raise the money, and Nevada King was formed.
So if Newmont Barrick ever decide they need to come in and look at all this ground, they've got to deal with us.
Cal very effectively built Nevada King in the shadows.
Absolutely necessary to be invisible. The only way they're going to know I'm interested is when they go out and they see my claim posts stretch as far as they can see.
The big picture in 2015 was there is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity in the Great Basin to acquire a land package that only a major in most markets would have.
What's remarkable is that Nevada King has put together the entire land package. So now you have a cohesive exploration target that is extremely high value.
Dr. Kaplan is a very successful investor. He's a billionaire resource entrepreneur. And I caught a quote of his a couple years ago and it really stuck with me. And the quote was, "Production is not how you make money, it's selling something at a high price, that's how you make money." And built into the logic of that quote, but not expressly stated, is in order to sell something at a high price, you have to buy it at a low price. And that perfectly encapsulates what we were doing in 2015 with Nevada King and Newfound Gold. The connective tissue between Nevada King and Newfound Gold has been the idea of let's build a company that can be a billion-dollar company. So build anything that we do with the potential to have $1 billion sort of takeout or bigger. The two companies were founded at about the same time. Denny was a Canadian geologist, and Denny wanted to focus on Canada, thank goodness.
When we first started out, we wanted to go after tier 1 jurisdictions and we wanted district scale plays. I was really comfortable with Canada and Canadian geology. And Colin had a family history in Nevada, and for me, I didn't really have any ins into Nevada. I reached out to a friend of mine and he introduced me to a friend of his, a fellow by the name of Cal Heron. Someone who really understood the state, understood the geology. Really, that was sort of the spark. Cal flew to Toronto to sit down with me, and Cal had just taken this very unique approach that no one had ever done.
A major part of our staking strategy or land acquisition strategy is based upon excluding competitors from known zones of mineralization. It forces people who do have resources to make a deal with us. Denis said, look, you need to take this to my friend Colin.
Cal and I met. His concept meshed perfectly with mine. There was a lull in exploration mixed with a lull in the cycle of gold. There was an opportunity that had not been around in 20 years in Nevada.
You had a lot of available ground at that time, and you've got monster deposits. Colin looked at it and said, this is great, this is just what I'm looking for. Where do we go with this? And I said, we start where the land has just been dropped and we head south along that trend. During downturns, everyone drops claims, the majors included, dropped claims. Barrick was pressured due to financial losses. So they dropped a bunch of ground and we picked it up.
The psychology of the majors is very simple. They have production as their #1 priority. When 2015 came around, they had mismanaged their money to such a degree that they had to cut everything and anything except for production. And that meant their exploration team got cut, their exploration ground got cut, and they even sold off some of their non-core mining assets. For a major mining company, you wonder, how did they drop something like this? Well, it's just not their core focus. And they are notorious for going back in at the top of the market and buying things that they got rid of years before.
The staking process here is still manual. So that's actually a bit of a challenge in Nevada. To stake claims here, you've got to hammer physical wooden stakes into the ground and label them. It's a very physically intensive thing and it takes a lot of time.
It's over all different terrain types, from steep mountains where you almost have to use a rope to get over the cliffs and dodge the mountain lions in the process, to flat lands where you can drive over a lot of it.
Cal basically painstakingly over many decades assembled a very detailed library of the claim history for the state. The money that was spent on various claims, what order were claims staked in bull markets, and in what order were claims dropped in bear markets. So this expansion and contraction of claim history.
Mining is very adventurous. It's like a detective game. I mean, you're looking for all kinds of evidence. You're putting that evidence together to try and paint a picture, which you then go and find something that can be extremely valuable. And it's a lot of fun just being involved in that process of discovery.
It's in your blood. It has to be in your blood or you'll never do it. Peaceful? Yes. Exciting? Yes. You never know what you're going to find. And in terms of characterizing the lifestyle, I would say it's perfect.
There was a few years where we were able to build up and nobody even knew we existed.
I keep a low profile. No one knows who I am except the county courthouse, and they asked me this last time, who the hell are you working for? I said, I'm not Nevada Gold Mines. And they said, no, but you're the #2 guy in the county now.
For investors that believe that we're going to get into a stronger gold market, and I'm one of those, Nevada King now has this very strategic land position along this very prolific trend in Nevada.
We are firmly in the 3rd position now in Nevada. There's Barrick-Newmont, and then Kinross, and then Nevada King. There is no other junior that registers in the top 7 list of claim holders.
The most fundamental reason why this is an important piece of ground is it's at the intersection of 2 of what are really the world's biggest gold trends. If you look at the Cortez Battle Mountain trend, and then you have the Getchell trend. Boy, when you bring those 2 trends together, guess what's there? You got Iron Point.
You're really right in the middle of gold country. There are very few places in the world where you can stand up on a ridge and get that type of panoramic view of multi-million ounce deposits around you.
You can practically pick up any rock on this property and you will get extreme numbers of arsenic, antimony, and mercury, which are the pathfinder elements that are associated with Carlin-type gold deposits.
What you see at Iron Point that gives you a sense of the potential here is the amount of lower grade mineralization that we see in the upper plate Vanini section. It's been expressed in drill holes that extend back to the 1970s.
What is it telling us? It's telling us that there's something bigger, driving the system below, down in those lower plate rocks.
If you ask Cal Herron what his favorite project is, it's the Lewis project.
This is probably one of the largest areas in northern Nevada of significant gold mineralization in upper plate rocks.
There's a beautiful history there, old historic high-grade mines. This is what made Nevada before bulk tonnage, low-grade, multi-million ounce deposits. It's kind of got it all. I love the Lewis district.
Previous explorers were looking for shallow resources. Many of the holes bottomed in mineralization. We've got deeper structures to be looking at out here.
The Lewis project has been the site of exploration interest for the past 30, 40 years. We are the first group that has ever been able to put it together in one cohesive package.
So it's really easy to see a target there. The fact that we got all the ground, now you can explore.
To the top of Horse Mountain, we came in 2 years ago when all the claims were dropped, and we staked it immediately.
Barrick was the last company that drilled that, and they actually punched through to lower plate rock. The interesting thing about Horse Mountain is lower plate rock is hit at about 500 feet. So you put that against Iron Point, you're talking about 1/3 of the drill depth to get down to lower plate.
From recent drilling by Barrick and others, we know that the lower plate rocks contain very strong gold.
Barrick hit a really, really good hole in lower plate rock. It was a few grams over a few meters. And I know they're kicking themselves right now that they dropped that ground.
We got lucky on this one because we caught the claims just right. Just after I staked these claims, another company came in 2 weeks later staking. And so we picked this up just in the nick of time.
Cold Bay Valley has been the target of multiple major mining companies over the past 40 years.
Cold Bay Valley project stretches from the edge of the Archimedes property all the way to the far end over here of the gold bar.
We've got about a 30-kilometer stretch tied up through staking now. You got mines every single side of that thing. You drive out there and you think, my God, where are you going to explore? We have the ability to do some good science today that tells us where the shallowly buried bodies of rock are through that valley.
At Goldspot, we've really been able to harness a lot of new technologies to highlight targets and opportunities that humans may have missed. And in a world where we're looking for elephants, machine learning and technology can really help us to put those pieces together. And so it gives us an edge.
Atlanta Mine. We have an existing 43101 resource in excess of 500,000 ounces gold, and we have a fair amount of blue sky around it. So it makes sense. Plus, the price was right.
We paid about $1 million for Atlanta. It had a market cap under its prior holder of $75 million.
I was surprised at the strength of the gold-bearing system when I saw the evidence of it in the high wall of the old open pit.
Those districts, often remote like Atlanta, have not seen any modern exploration. Now there are some that have though, okay? And the ones that have, where people have gone back and diligently explored, what appeared to be a one-off small gold deposit, they found multiple deposits around it. And many of these districts, start generating, 6, 8, 10 satellite pits to the original deposit. I think that's the case at Atlanta.
I can't think of any business that's more exciting than the gold exploration space. Where else can you go and drill a hole and potentially have a life-changing outcome?
If the gold market unfolds the way I believe it will, and a lot of investors believe it will, then I think Nevada King is a fantastic opportunity to get exposure to this very big land position with a lot of historic work, some very good drill results, former producing mines, very close to some of the world-class production assets.
My passion is to see exploration reinvigorated in Nevada. If you go out and explore, you get the right data, you start making discovery, there are going to be targets that are going to want to be acquired by a major and built into the next generation of mines. We've tied together huge tracts of land, intermingled with Nevada gold mines. We're going to make the discoveries that they're going to need.
The landscape of Nevada is consistent in that Barrick and Newmont have been here for a long time, but in every cycle, you get other majors that enter and then exit the state. And if you're a major that decides in 2022 that they need to be in the Battle Mountain trend, it might make sense to come in and pick up a large swath of ground. And you can be sure that Barrick and Newmont are not going to be raising their hand to invite that group in. But we will be.